All right, today we're talking about hacking your focus. We're going to unlock 3 powerful brain tricks that are specifically for students to help you learn faster and, well, actually focus. Let's dive right in.
Okay, let's be real. Have you ever had that feeling where you've studied for hours, you've highlighted everything, you've read the chapter 3 times, but when it comes to the test, it's just gone? If you're not in your head right now, you are in exactly the right place.
And the first thing you need to know is that you're not alone. This isn't some personal failure. You're actually in a battle on 2 fronts, one against your own brain's weird habits, and the other against that phone that is just constantly buzzing for your attention. But don't worry, we're about to give you the playbook to win.
Okay, first up, let's outsmart your brain. We need to talk about how to beat that sneaky I get it illusion. You know, that false sense of confidence you get right before you bomb a test question.
This thing has a name. It's called the competence illusion. It's that moment when you've covered a whole chapter in bright yellow highlighter and your brain kind of whispers to you, yep, we got this. But here's the catch. Passively reading something is not the same as actively knowing it. And that illusion right there is why we so often blank on exams.
So how do you break this illusion? With something called the Feynman technique. Sounds fancy, but it is brilliantly simple. Here's how it works. Step 1. Try to explain a concept out loud, in the simplest terms you can think of. Step 2. The moment you get stuck or confused, that's it. You found your knowledge gap. And step 3 is easy. Go back to your notes, fill in that gap, and then try to explain it all over again until it's super smooth and simple.
A really good way to put this into practice is to imagine you have a ghost friend sitting right there with you. Try explaining photosynthesis or a complex historical event to them. The second you hesitate, the second you say, you've struck gold. That is the exact weak spot you need to go back and strengthen. This whole thing works because it forces you into active recall. You're pulling information out of your brain, not just passively pushing it in. And that process is what builds really strong, lasting memories.
Okay, so we've covered how to outsmart your brain's illusions. Now let's talk about how to work with your brain's natural rhythm instead of constantly fighting against it.
So if you're someone who just can't force yourself to study for 3 hours straight, please listen to this. You are not lazy. What you're experiencing is a very real biological thing called attention fatigue. Your brain has a focus limit. It's not wired for marathons.
And that limit, it has a number. And that number is 25. Studies show that our brains can stay in that peak, high-efficiency focus zone for about 25 minutes. This is the whole magic behind the Pomodoro technique. You just work in an intense 25-minute sprint, and then you take a 5-minute break. It is an absolute game changer.
But there's another biological limit we've got to face. It's called the forgetting curve. And this chart, well, it shows a pretty tough reality. Within just 24 hours of learning something new, your brain is literally programmed to just throw away about half of it.
So how do we fight back? With something called spaced repetition. It's so simple. As you can see here, by just reviewing new material the next day, and then again maybe a week later, you're sending a powerful signal to your brain. You're basically saying, hey, this stuff is important. Don't delete it. This little trick is what moves knowledge from short-term memory into long-term memory where you actually need it.
All right, we've covered techniques for your brain. Now it's time to face the final boss, your phone. This last section is all about how to win back your focus from digital distraction.
Here's a thought that's, well, a little sobering. That constant stream of notifications and short videos from your phone, they provide these little hits of something called cheap dopamine. And all that overstimulation has been shown to shorten our attention spans, to the point where, yeah, a goldfish might actually have us beat.
So what's the fix? Is it some complex app, a strict lockdown? No, it is something much, much simpler. You just go into your phone's settings and switch the display to grayscale mode. And this right here shows you just how big of an impact that tiny change can have. See, research shows that by simply stripping away all those bright, vibrant, attention-grabbing colors from your screen, you make your phone fundamentally less appealing. You make it boring. And on average, people who turn on grayscale reduce their daily screen time by nearly 38 minutes. Your brain starts looking for more interesting things to do, like, studying.
Okay, I know that was a lot, but you now have a powerful new playbook for studying smarter, not harder. So let's do a quick-fire summary of the tools you've just added to your toolkit.
So first, you're going to use the Feynman technique. That's to make sure you actually understand the material. Second, you're going to work with your brain's limits by using the Pomodoro technique for focus and spaced repetition for memory. And finally, you're going to turn on grayscale mode to make your phone boring again and get your focus back.
At the end of the day, remember this. Learning is a skill. And you now have 3 powerful, proven techniques to master it. You have the tools to take back control of your focus and get better results. So the only question left is, which trick are you going to try first?